Hey everyone, this is Carbonite, bringing you another standard match. Today we have myself on the left, once again playing Maelstrom. Don't worry, this is going to be the last Maelstrom game for a while because I've found there are a ton of really fun decks from set 9. So even though Maelstrom did get some pretty cool tools in set 9, and I think the deck is a little bit better now, I'm going to be putting it on hold for the time being while I test out all the other set 9 decks. Not just the new stuff, but the stuff that got support. So hopefully this is going to be a pause on Maelstrom from my side. Yeah, for those of you that are already sick of it. But hopefully that's not too many of you. But anyways, we're going to be seeing me going up against a new matchup, something we haven't seen on the channel, which is the Ava matchup. So now just talking a little bit about the matchup, I would say that it is definitely winnable for Maelstrom, but the main issue is that Ava basically just does its thing and it's always just like a good deck, whereas Maelstrom, you kind of have to have everything go right for you, and you have to you can't make a single mistake, because Maelstrom is totally able to, as we've seen in all the videos where I play Maelstrom, I can definitely bulk up, I can tempo, I can make games go for a very long time and actually win, beat the grind game, which is usually Ava's specialty. But in terms of being able to grind and basically bulking up, Ava is just so much better at it, and it has actual offensive pressure, and it has an actual finisher, which is something Maelstrom does not at this time and point. So basically it's honestly just like a weaker deck against a better deck, but I would say that I definitely have the ability to win this matchup. Anyways, so we are going to be seeing me go for a little bit of a rush here, actually calling out that grade 2 to swing at the Vanguard, because my win con for the Ava matchup is push them to 5 as quickly as possible and then hit them with 6 attacks to make it as threatening as possible. But anyways, we are going to be seeing me actually being outplayed a little bit. I'm going to guard 15 to guard the Ava, just making sure that I don't take any extra damage. And we are actually going to be seeing the grade 2 Obstinate go for the rear guard, so he is going to be counterblast denying me here. So now normally counterblast denying doesn't really do a ton against Maelstrom, because you can theoretically get to those 4 attacks without any CB if you have the wheel assault, which unfortunately is not something that I have at the moment. So I'm going to be taking things a little bit slower here, actually damage denying myself, hitting into a crit and a PG, which is a little unfortunate. I would have liked to have that extra 2 damage, but at the same time, it's fine. In case you missed it earlier, I did actually deal 2 damage, but one of the damage was a heal, so he did heal back down to 1. We are going to be seeing me actually using the Judgment of the Storm to call back the Inlet Pulse that I discarded for Ride deck, calling a Tidal Assault off the Algo skill, and then just pushing it back so it can't be swung into. And thankfully, Ava doesn't really have any removal, at least for the back row, I should say. So I'm feeling pretty safe. It does kind of suck that I didn't do my 5 attacks, so I don't have the Inlet Pulse for next turn. But in case you're wondering, if you saw the deck profile, you might have heard me say that usually you keep Judgment of the Storm. Maybe you can hold on to it. The reason I played it there is to just get my 1 order out of the way, because if you saw during my last turn, I did drive check the Chalice, and I want to be able to Persona Ride during the next turn. So my next turn isn't going to be as explosive as it normally could be, but given the fact that I didn't give the Ava player any CB, he only has 1 to work with. He has to decide what he wants to use his 1 CB with, or he wants to use grade 1 order to countercharge, to call out the Obstinate. For me, the more he gets rid of his grade 1 orders, the easier it is for me, because if he loses all of them, then Maelstrom skill is live on the Obscadates, and they're in danger. So we're going to be swinging with that robot card, the Order Searcher, hitting into a defensive, the heal trigger, swinging the Ava for an 18, so this is going to be a 1 to pass. As much as I really don't want to, in this matchup, I really need to conserve cards, so I am going to have to 1 to pass this, so we'll see what he flips over. We see a Persona Ride and the Over Trigger, which is Kind of annoying. I do hit a draw trigger on the defensive, but I do go to 3, which is something I definitely did not want to happen right now. And this Obfuscate is going to be hitting for 100 million, and it was called off the Ava skill, so it does have its extra critical. So we are just going to be PGing that to make sure that we don't go to 5 this early. So kind of unfortunate that OT came up. It did matter a little bit, but you know, it's OT. Wish you weren't in the game, but you know, we're gonna play around with it since we do have it. Anyway, so going into this turn, I do have that Chalice, Persona Ride, and I do have my Inlet, which I'm hoping to put into Soul with this. And of course, I have plenty of CB, so probably gonna go for a little bit of a conservative turn, maybe take out some of those rear guards, because both of those rear guards are pretty threatening in their own right. If he Personalized next turn, that robot's gonna be a 33, and the Obfuscate obviously is a 23-33. So these are really big columns, and they're very awkward to guard because they're 20k, and since I don't play front triggers, that means that's always going to be a 2-card guard. So we're going to be using the Inlet, just swing at the Obfuscate, get rid of it, use the Tidal Assault to swing at the robot guy, using the Soul Blast to give my Vanguard an extra 5k, making it 28. So now I can safely swing at the Tidal Assault, and we are going to be seeing him get a defensive here, but thanks to the fact that I used Tidal Assault skill, I am swinging for 28. So of course we are going to retire that little monster dude. So if he wants to guard a 15k shield here, that is going to be a 1 to pass. So we are going to see him no guarding it, and we're going to see me flip over double crit, pushing Ava to 5, which is definitely exactly where we want to be. So during my next turn, the plan is to push as hard as I possibly can. The main thing I'm worried about here is not criticals. I'm worried about heals, because the more he heals down, the longer the game goes, and the harder it's going to be for me to close it out. So we are going to be seeing the Persona Ride. Now, of course, the downside of actually giving him this much damage is that he has a ton of CB to just like work with. He can basically do whatever he wants this turn, as we're going to be seeing playing the Order and actually hitting a grade 3 Obfuscate off of it, counterblasting the 1 to call out the Combine Rusher, which is another very annoying card, and I'm kind of glad that it's getting hit, even though probably not going to be playing it in the future. Honestly, just that 30k on the Persona Ride is kind of annoying. That's the only issue I really have with it, to be honest, because just like with 33, it's an awkward number to guard. So especially for my deck, since I don't play fronts. We're going to be seeing that Ava skill procced, adding a card to hand, putting the rest to the bottom. And then let's see what we've got next. So it looks like we are actually going to be using that grade 1 Order, adding the Obfuscate from the drop and countercharging. Now, we don't really need the countercharge, probably just using it to get more shield value in hand, especially since you are at 5, calling down a Bulbul Mine. Probably not overly necessary, using the grade 3 Order skill to give a 5k to the Vanguard. Alright, so looks like... So we're just going to be swinging that Combine Rusher first. So now this is a little bit of a risky situation for me. This Combine is swinging, so I am going to just take it, hoping for a defensive, but unfortunately we don't see it. Instead, we see an Inlet Pulse going to the damage zone. So this is a very awkward situation, as we're going to be seeing another Obfuscate come out. So both of these Obfuscates, now that I'm at 4, since I took that Combine Rusher attack, both these Obfuscates are going to be swinging for lethal. So they're both 2 crit, and I cannot afford to take either of them. So at this point, I have to decide, do I want to use up my last PG here, or do I want to just guard this, no guard this, and risk a crit? So now we did see like 3 critical triggers go into his damage zone during that last turn, so I'm feeling fairly confident that he's not going to hit one, and thankfully, as I kind of calculated, he does not. Instead, I actually hit a nice defensive, meaning that both of these Obfuscate attacks are going to be easily guarded. That last one to 15, I'm going to be overguarding for 48 to guard that 31, I believe. Or is it 41? Yeah, I think it's 41. So that was just Vanguard. Anyways, gonna be going into this turn. This is looking to be my kill turn. So I'm gonna be calling down everything and putting everything I have into this turn to try and finish him off. Because I do not want this game to go any further. I am also at 5 myself. So the longer this game goes, Ava can take up more, and I can probably not survive that many more attacks. So I'm going to be calling out a Prize Trident, discarding a heal trigger to call out the Inlet Pulse. So I have my ideal board here. Well, not super ideal. I wish that Prize Trident were something else, but still, it will do in this pinch. So we're going to be swinging thanks to the Brave Shooter that is going to be at 28. So that's going to be calling for a 2-card guard from him. So just going to be a trigger and another Obfuscate, swinging the Tidal Assault. So now all of my Vanguard, all of my attacks are going to be going straight to the Vanguard because every single one of these is lethal. Swinging the Tidal Assault, just going to be hit with an Intercept, swinging the Inlet Pulse once again for a 28, which is going to be taking the Intercept as well as another heal trigger. So even though the Ava has bulked up, we are just basically eating cards out of his hand, as we're going to be seeing him PG that Vanguard swing, Twin Drive, hitting a draw trigger, giving the power to that the Prize Trident, so that it is hitting for also a magic number. So this this Tidal Assault is going to be hitting for 28. We're going to see another Obfuscate that we added back, as well as that heal trigger, and then the Prize Trident is going to be swinging for a 28, and unfortunately it's going to be hit with another PG, discarding another PG. So that attack is, or that turn is going to be unsuccessful in closing out the game. So Ava does only have 2 cards in hand, so this is now looking like his final turn. Unfortunately for me, Ava is going to be able to actually put a pretty good offense on the board, despite the fact that they have only 2 cards in hand, whereas Maelstrom really can't do that. We're going to be seeing the grade 3 order played, actually calling another Obfuscate from deck, and then using the Combine Rusher to counterblast 1. So now I'm at 5, and I have to guard all of these attacks, which is going to be those 4 attacks, with 2 of them being with crit and the Vanguard swing. And now that deck is also looking very compressed, and we're doing even more filtering. So things are definitely getting very worrying for me. Although, to be fair, Ava probably won't be able to last another couple of turns, given how many cards are left in the deck. At some point, you are going to run out of cards. As I've said before, Maelstrom does draw a lot, but it does not actually deck out as quickly as some other decks do. So we are going to be seeing that Combine Rusher being swinging at the Vanguard. I'm unfortunately going to have to commit those 2 cards from hand, guarding with just a critical trigger as well as a draw trigger. Just because I kind of want to preserve the Tidal Assault, even though I could have just intercepted with it to make it a lot easier. I fear I'm going to need it if I want to be able to win on the clapback. So we are going to be seeing an Obfuscate come on out. I believe that was one added from hand with the order. I'm just going to PG it. We are going to be seeing a draw trigger here, which in most cases would be very concerning, considering at this point I only have 3 more cards left in my hand. So as you can see, even though I was able to bulk up, Ava is just able to put so much pressure on while bulking up itself, which is something that Maelstrom really can't do. It can definitely bulk up, but the pressure comes from little pokes. But as you can see, 2 of the cards are going to be 2 PGs. So I'm going to be going into this turn, no cards in hand, draw for turn, and it's going to be a Persona Ride, which is basically just going to be closing this out, discarding the card I drew off Persona Ride to call out the Inlet Pulse. And this is pretty much it. Ava has like 3 cards, or even after all that, Ava still has 5 cards left in hand. But I do have enough power to push the 6 attacks. Do I? I think I only have 1 CB, so maybe this is only 5 attacks. But still, you're at 5. You have like 5 cards left in deck. Even if you were to guard with all those cards, you have your 2 intercepts. Honestly, it just might not be enough, especially with the Vanguard swing. So we are just going to be taking that, and that's going to be the match. So hope you guys enjoyed. Go ahead and do all those YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.